On this Kia Forte, we're having an issue where we only have blower speeds 1 and 2. Anything above that just doesn't work. Both the AC lights just turn off, and it's like the switch is in the off position. So I'm going to show you how to fix this. I don't think Kia offers these pieces anymore. I did a video on how to replace or install a radio, so I'm going to put a link in the description to that, because you're going to need to remove this assembly right here. So go watch that so you can figure out how to take your radio out. Process is going to be a little bit different if you have an aftermarket unit, but you can see it there. So once you watch that video, you'll know how to remove this, and you'll know how to remove this. Once you have this piece out right here, you're going to take a pry tool or a small pick, and we're going to have to go in and raise up each one of these little tabs all around this unit. Be really careful, because Kia plastic is not very high quality, and a lot of times these tabs break off. If they do break off, I guess it's not the end of the world. You could always glue it back together. So you can kind of see how those go in right there. I like to use a pick because it's the smallest thing that you can fit in there. Even a pry tool and a screwdriver can sometimes move these clips too much and they'll break. So once we get that open, we can take it over to the bench and disassemble it the rest of the way. We're going to need to pull a few things apart. I'm going to show you how to repair this entire assembly. This back piece here should just push separately from that. So we can put these to the side, and this is what we're actually going to work on. In this first section, I'm going to show you a demonstration of a switch that's not working. Right now we're on setting 0, so we should have no continuity across any pins. We'll go over to setting number 1, and I'll show you where your continuity should be, those first 2 pins. Okay. Setting number 2, continuity is going to be between the first 2 and, yep, there you go. See that second one there? After this, testing 3 and 4, we're not going to have continuity. So as you can see, I'm using the one on the top right as our common, or distribution, whatever you want to call it. So both those are dead. Now we just got to pull the switch apart. I'm going to pull it apart. You don't necessarily have to, but it's going to make handling the switch a whole lot easier, so I'd suggest doing it. Next, we need to go ahead and open the back of the switch up. Here you see these 3 locations, the same kind of pins to take apart the controller, but definitely a lot more difficult. You need to go ahead and get those out, get them out with any tool you need. Just be pretty careful. If you break this, then you're out of luck. Once we've got it apart, we can see kind of how the switch works. See right there, we've got 3 contacts actually, and they interface to this little distribution block, which has the pins on the back that we were testing. It's probably going to be greasy and gross. What we're really looking for to repair here are sections where the track is burnt. So Kia didn't use very good plastic, and it gets very hot. The motors pull too high of amperage. You can see here these burnt bubbled up plastic spots. So look carefully, find any raised edges. You may also notice that some of your track pieces or contacts are actually sunk down into the board. So we'll take some carb cleaner or electrical cleaner or whatever, clean them off really well, and then take a piece of sandpaper, what I like to do, across the flat face, and you'll see what's rubbing. You may need to remove some plastic. To do that, you can get a razor blade. I like to do that, but you can also use a Dremel if you're really careful. I wouldn't recommend it. So now we can kind of see what needs to be removed. There's a few sections where the plastic is bubbled up and just too high, so I'm going to go in there with the razor blade and just kind of whittle them down. Hold the razor blade kind of flat and go across the face of the contact here. So that's just going to get the high spots off. See another one there. So down inside there, you can see which pins correlate to which pad. Some of them you can't actually see, so it's good to go ahead and take a multimeter and just make sure they are still connected. You can figure out which ones go where. It's just useful to know sometimes, so you can figure out which one's your common and which one goes to your actual fan speeds. For some of them, they're just going to use a combination of 2 different terminals for a fan speed, not just one. Like for example, on 2, 3, and 4, if I'm not mistaken, they use 2 distribution or 2 power terminals. Next up, we're going to need to build up some of the contact pieces because they have sunken down into this little piece here. So I'm just going to go over them, kind of rough them up. This is where you'd want to use sandpaper. I was just trying to do this quick, but sandpaper is a really good use for this. Emery cloth, something like that, because you want something for the solder to stick to. So next up, we're going to solder these little pads and build them up higher since they've sunk down into this plastic. You want to use some flux and only flux the pieces that you're working on, because you don't want the solder to stick to other spots that you're not ready for yet. Like if you only needed to do one, it'll make it easier using flux, and you don't have to go remove it from your other pins. You're going to need a really good soldering iron. I'll put a link in the description to the one that I like the best. This one is a knockoff of a really expensive one with replaceable heads, and it gets extremely hot extremely fast. So you see me just kind of bringing some solder across here. This is going to take a little bit of practice. You're going to need to build up the solder and then sand it back down, and then build up the solder, sand it down, stuff like that. Reassemble the switch a few times to see what parts need work. Sometimes you'll put too much solder on there and then other contacts won't make contact. You'll need to actually go in there and grind them back down, sand them down, whatever. So just be careful. Don't go too fast. I will tell you, you don't want to do it too many times because you're going to risk breaking the clips on the switch also. So just be careful here. There's our 2 sections with solder built up. If you think you're good to go, you can go ahead and assemble the switch, or you can run the razor blade or sandpaper across it and see where our new scratch marks are to see if it's level. This one's ready to go. I did a lot of it off camera, getting it perfect, fiddling it with it. Then we'll just stick it back together. Okay, once we've got it completely assembled, we can go ahead and test now. So we'll go ahead and go to the first setting and test continuity between the first 2 pins. We should see it. Okay, second setting. There we go, second pin. Third setting. It's actually going to be the top pin. Good to go. And then the bottom one. Good to go. So there we are.